what are your icks?
You're not living your life, you're living someone else's life. Your happiness comes from you, and like your partner is just a bonus.
I think also a red flag is when someone talks about mainly themselves and they're not asking. Like, you need to learn when to stop speaking.
Welcome to another podcast. Today I've got the girls. We're going to do a little Valentine's Day episode. Speaking of, we decided to be a little bit themed. Got Valentine's Day drinks, Reader's strawberries, which are over there, and we've got a little platter here. Another little mukbang, I guess, we'll eat as we talk, but Valentine's Day themed, so we've got some like dating questions, some funny things, and we'll probably start waffling. Okay, my first question is, I've put why you shouldn't feel lonely on Valentine's Day, but do you guys, or have you ever felt lonely on Valentine's?
No.
No? Never?
Never. It's just another day.
No, this is my point. I don't
feel
think...
like it's just commercialised. Like, what is the meaning of Valentine's Day? Like, where did it originate from?
I actually don't know. I think it was made up for the people in couples to have an excuse to buy more presents.
I'm not a fan.
I do like the fact of Galentine's though.
Galentine's sounds better than Valentine's.
Yeah.
No, I've got a boyfriend. No offence. It's just, I don't know, I just feel like it's just like, I'm not going to buy a massive present. Some couples get like massive presents and just like, what is the point?
Well, you've got...
You've got birthdays, you've got Christmas.
Anniversaries.
Like, yeah, exactly.
Like,
it's a lot.
I think it's a lot. I really like Galentine's though, because I think the whole day is supposed to be like celebrating love. And like this year I've learned a lot about platonic love. And I honestly think boyfriends are great and whatever, but it's a different type of love, isn't it, with girls? Like, we can do so much together that like boyfriends won't do.
Yeah, and like especially us being us, like, look, we've got got all these snacks, we've got strawberry daiquiris, like, it's just so well organised.
That is
and
like
put together.
Yeah, and that is like, would you do this with a boy?
We understood the assignment. We really
exactly
did.
We did.
Like, a boy could never. I feel so bad saying this. Like, obviously Valentine's is good for romantic people, but like, I just don't see the point of buying presents. But like, yeah, going out for dinner, maybe cooking each other a nice meal. But like,
I think it's cute because it's like a group of your friends.
Yeah, I get it. But I feel it's pressure. Like, everyone. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, in a relationship, I'm like, okay, Valentine's Day's coming up, can we do something cute? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Because there's been days where like nothing's been planned, and I'm like, kind of, you upset deep down. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But yeah, nothing fancy. I feel like that's more like an anniversary maybe, or like a birthday more than a commercialised day.
And also as well, like, it sets an expectation. Other people celebrating it, and there's like, other people around you might be getting flowers from their boyfriends, like they might be going out for a nice meal, they might even be going on holiday, do you know what I mean, for really extra couples. But like, some people don't like it, like me for example, I don't really like it, so I'm not bothered about celebrating it, but my boyfriend might get upset because he likes it. Do you know what I mean?
No, that's such a valid point. Yeah, like, you've got to think about who you're dating, what their kind of love languages are. Like, I think people that are quite like gifts or acts of service, a day like Valentine's is important to them, but you might be someone that's like, just wants to spend time with them, and you're going to upset each other just based on what you're doing a day and what you want to do, and you're not thinking about what the other person might like. So remember that if you're in a relationship, a tip from us. But I think you shouldn't be lonely. I said this because I think genuinely I always say this, everyone comes in at the right time. I think if you've got a boyfriend this year, great, they're supposed to be there. Might not last, you might last, great. But then if you're single this year, you're supposed to be single. I think that's the way. You shouldn't be like, I should have a boy. If you're single, there's a reason you're single right now. Do you know what I mean? Don't force it.
There's a plan.
Yeah. A lot of people like force relationships that aren't working just to come across like you're happy.
So true. And like, don't compare relationships as well, because like, if surface level someone seems really happy and they've had a really lovely Valentine's Day doing something, it doesn't mean that their relationship is better than yours. You just have different ways of showing love.
Yeah, no one's better than the other, you're all just on such a different journey, I think, and that's the thing. But yeah, don't feel lonely, because there's probably a reason, and you'll meet your match in a couple of years' time when the time's right. I think don't force it. What are your red flags?
Arrogance.
What do you mean?
I can't stand when someone is like, I like confidence, and I like a little bit of an ego, but when it's too much.
To
the point where you're driving and you're looking at yourself in the mirror because you think you're so fit. I can't stand it.
No, yeah, or it's like, you want me. I know you want me.
Yeah, it's like,
no.
Oh, I'm just so fit. No.
Yeah.
No.
Reminds me of Love Island boys.
Also, I think if someone could be really good looking, but if they have a shit personality, it changes their looks to me. Like, it makes them look ugly.
Literally, it does. So have confidence, but not too much. Do you know what I mean? Be humbled. Because Tegs will humble you. I promise. As we know. What are your red flags, Ria?
I don't know. I think a big one is like their like respect for women, which is something I've like come to know, like not just through relationships, just men in general. Like I think there's definitely a clear difference between men that respect women and men that don't, and I don't just mean like speaking to them. I just feel like the regard they hold a woman's opinion in. Like some men just have a complete disregard for just women in general, and just like, I don't know, I can't really explain it, but like,
no, I know what you mean.
if you know, you know.
I feel like there's some guys that hate women, like they actually just hate them, and they won't admit it.
But it's not like you look at them and you're like, or you speak to them and you're like, they hate women. It's like more in their behaviour towards you, collectively, like as females.
So I have one.
Yeah.
When like it's very like sexualised. Like it's only they're commenting on your looks, not what you're like about. I don't know.
Your personality.
You know, literally, or like what you can offer them. There's something like Jace was saying to me. She was like, you don't want someone that wants you for what you can offer, but who you are as a person. And I feel like for girls, we can offer obviously sexual things, or like we can make a man look better, or cook or clean, or if we're thinking of that thing. But that's all things that we can offer someone. What about, do you like us for like our brains and who we are as like a soul? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like you can definitely tell, like when you're just out on a night out and you're just chatting to maybe even new friends, mutual people, and you think you're looking right through me, you're not listening to a word I'm saying, and that's where I can tell anyway.
I think also a red flag is when someone talks about mainly themselves and they're not asking, like, you need to learn when to stop speaking about yourself.
No, it is true. I think but then I feel like sometimes I'm like I can imagine, I don't really do first dates, but if I was on a first date I'd be so anxious and nervous that I'd just talk about myself all the time.
I waffle a lot.
That's
sometimes.
what I mean.
Like,
I yap.
Yeah.
Or like, I feel like I have a bad habit of like, you know, when someone's like trying to explain something they're maybe a bit upset about, and I just naturally like will talk about something, a similar experience I've had to make them feel better. But
and
like,
also your mum mode kicks in. It's like someone's upset or something.
Yeah, and then I'm like right up to them. But then I think I need to be a better listener than just advice. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so you're like listening because you're listening, not just listening to give your response.
Yeah, like actually process. Like
I do that.
I've been trying to shut up a bit.
But
do you know what I mean?
What I find really hard is like when you're listening, but you don't know what to say.
Yeah.
And I feel like I don't know.
I
don't know what's happening to me.
Yeah.
But like I've been in situations where I need to like, I don't know, like comfort someone, or they're telling me something like quite deep, and I just like, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, like if someone,
I actually don't know. I wish I did.
Yeah.
I really, really wish I did, but I don't.
Maybe you're just
really like don't. If someone tells you something, if someone tells you something like deep, and you're listening, you can't be like, oh, it will be okay. If like it's really
not gonna be
okay, no, it's not okay.
Yeah. Or I just say really unhelpful things.
Maybe you're desensitised.
I don't know. No, but what does that mean?
As in, like, you've been through enough, so you're just like, I couldn't help you there.
Really?
Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
I don't know. I really would love to help people. It's just like, I'm so scared of saying the wrong thing that I just don't say anything. And it's not because I don't know what to say, like I'm finding it so hard to think of something to say that I can't say anything to you.
I think my thing is, it takes me a minute. Like, if you give me a day, I'll come back with such good advice, but I can't process it quick enough in the moment.
You give very good advice.
But I feel like I've got a handful of things where if you talk about those 5 things, I can instantly give you a response. If it's something outside of those 5 things, I will waffle and it will make no sense. I'm like, I'm so sorry, I just bored you of all of that. But if you give me a day, I will come back, process it, I'll have better advice. I can't do on the spot thinking.
I feel like you give me very good advice there and then, though.
Do you think? Because sometimes I think I'm completely making up bullshit.
No, I don't think so. I really don't think so.
Yeah. People talking about themselves all the time. And I was saying, I feel like sometimes I do it as a nervous thing. You know what I mean?
That's how you know if someone likes you, though, because they'll ask you questions like, what do you do? Do you like this? Like, and it's like...
Yeah, like, you can talk about what you like, but then it's... You have to then be like, but what about you? Do you know what I mean?
I always say, what about you?
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah. What about you?
Yeah. Because I generally... want to know, genuinely.
But yeah, sometimes I feel like when you're sitting there and it's like story after story after story, and these stories can be amazing and funny, and then it's like, you're gonna ask me if I've been to one of these places you're talking about, or have I had a similar experience, you know what I mean? Or I think, okay, one of my biggest red flags is the empathy. Like,
me.
No, like in a boy, like, you, but no, but it's worse when you're dating a boy, do you know what I mean? Like, where you feel like they genuinely don't have the capacity to feel sorry for either something you're upset about in general, or if they've upset you.
Yeah.
So for me, like, it kind of comes with communication. Like, you know, when people don't talk to you for hours and hours, and it's like, you don't have the empathy to understand that could be upsetting me. Do you know what I mean? It's more like tunnel vision, but I'm busy, so I'm not going to communicate, rather than, well, how's this going to make someone feel? So my red flag is like learning to communicate. Oh, I'm really busy today, so like, people know. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Rather than just like leave people guessing. Or it's the same with emotions. Like, if you're pissed off about something, if you withhold that information, no one's a mind reader. We're not gonna know. But to be able to say like, I'm upset about it, but I'll talk about it later, type thing, is really mature, I think.
No, it's so true.
Very wise.
Oh,
very
thank
wise.
You. We all are wise.
You should run a
You should make
healing podcast.
What, I should do a podcast, should I? What a great idea. Okay, a similar question then, maybe not a red flag, but what are your icks? My ick is when people Snapchat themselves driving at a high speed with music. Do you know?
Why would you do
if
that?
I wanted to watch you drive, I would get in the car.
Yeah, literally.
No, because it's okay. If I don't even be at high speed, it could literally be like 30 miles, 40 miles an hour, and it's always the hand on top of the wheel, and I think it's not impressing me.
If I wanted to, I'd put on the fucking F1.
Yeah, Like you might crash.
I just don't get it. I really don't get.
I want to know the stat of like how many people have posted on Snapchat and then also like hit a curb, like, and gone, oh shit. Do you know what I mean? And then deleted the clip. Like, I know it happens, so just stop doing it because it's not impressive.
I would love to know if there are any girls out there that watch those videos and they're like, wow.
Yeah, like
I wouldn't really say it's an ick, but it would definitely be like the way you take pictures. Like, if you're whacking loads of filters on it, like contrast up.
That's what I do though.
Right, you know on Instagram when there's different filters, so there's one that's
like Paris.
Yeah. Imagine someone uses Tokyo or whatever it's been called.
Yeah,
and
that's
they
quite
post a
bad.
selfie with
giving
that
Matrika.
It's giving me a sick.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah. I think a big ick of mine is like if you start fights out. Like, what did you say to me? Like,
oh, I find that attractive.
Really?
Or depends who it is.
I just think you've had one too many Red Bulls and now you're just on one.
Red Bulls.
Maybe a bit of something else as well.
Yeah, do you know what I
sure
mean?
I've got some up my sleeve.
I think it depends what the situation is.
I've got one, Icks, fussy eaters. If you're a fussy eater, you're not a fussy eater. Trust me.
Really?
You're getting better.
Like,
yeah, I am.
You used to not touch
how
anything
can
really.
how are you telling me that you've not tried something before but you don't like it? Like, do you know how horrible that is? That's like, get in the bin. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Settling and compromising yourself. I was speaking a bit about this to Ria the other day of like, so for me, I feel like I've got a handful of things that I like as Maisie, like going for a walk, do you know what I mean, with the dog. That's the thing. I'm going for a coffee to a coffee shop or something, and I do that with you girls, which is why I'm the pool.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Maisie likes being in the pool. I don't.
The pool. What are you
so
on
we
about?
Compromised, and I got the ring.
Oh, okay. Let's do a little lesson on compromise. The easiest way I explain compromise is we're on holiday. Tegs wanted a pool. Okay, we get to the pool and she won't get in the pool. And I think, why have I booked a hotel with a pool then? And I'm trying to get her in, but she doesn't like swimming. And I think, come on, get in, dip your toes in.
I did get in, but not fully in.
We had tension for a while. You weren't getting in, and I was trying to convince her. And then the idea of compromise is I found a rubber ring and I put her in it so she could float. She weren't scared anymore.
In my flamingo ring.
Yeah, and she was then happy to come in. So that's what I always say is like the art of compromise. You've got to do a bit of both. But yeah, for me, like what I mean is, I feel like when I was in my other relationship, like it would be a Sunday and we'd be chilling here watching TV all day, realistically I'd want to go like for some air, like on a walk, or go get a Starbucks or something, and they never wanted to do that, do you know what I mean? And I would put up with it and be like, yeah, no worries, but then every single day, do you know what I mean? I never got to do what I actually wanted to do. Then when I've been single, I've realised what actually is me, because back then I didn't know what Maisie was. Now I know, no, I do want to go on walks or to the coffee shop, or I like doing XYZ. Now when I get in a relationship, that's the type of things that I hope the other person would like as well, or would do for me. It might not be their favourite thing, but it's that idea of compromise.
I think, though, like, with that, it's like, at first, it's like that, you do compromise and you do stuff to make each other happy, but then when you start getting more comfortable, things start to slip.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
You're really enjoying each other's company, then it doesn't really matter what you're doing, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think it's more like, if there's something you definitely want to do, like, my advice is don't give that up for someone else, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, I definitely feel that way. Like, I have my dreams and aspirations, and like, I'm gonna do that regardless, because that's what I want to do. But then I feel like that's where I've probably fallen short in other relationships, where I'm like, I put my life on hold because it doesn't align with like the person I'm seeing their goals. And it's like, that can really drain you and make you depressed, because like, you're not living your life, you're living someone else's life, and it's like, you're not yourself anymore at that point, and that's just like not good at all.
That's exactly what I mean.
To just do what you want to do.
Yeah, like, when you've been in a past relationship or anything, is there anything you've had to do that you really didn't want to do, type thing? Like, have you ever been dragged out on a day that you're like, did not want to do that?
Yeah.
I can't think now.
100%. I had a boyfriend that used to go to we used to get up like so early in the morning.
Really?
And I'd spend the whole day there, and then we wouldn't get back till like 8-9 at night, but I would sit in the van waiting for him to finish the whole day. It was the most boring thing in the world.
That is so long.
It was horrible.
I don't know what I'm trying to think.
I don't think there's nothing like that. I don't
It's
think.
horrible.
But I think especially when you're younger, I think when you've had your first few relationships, I think you do naturally that's okay. Like, I think when you've been seeing each other for a long time, you might every few weeks want to go and support them at like a sport they've done, and you spend all day there. It's just something you do, isn't it? Because you get it vice versa. I agree. I think compromise is good, like, here and there, but yeah, don't lose yourself or like end up doing too much that you're not enjoying, and then you never get, like, that sounds fine, but did that person ever then do something that you wanted to do, type thing, on a regular? Exactly. So like, give and take. No. What have you had a worst date experience? Maybe not worst, but maybe one that didn't go according to plan. Go on.
First
Get
no
on.
for a date is getting picked up.
Getting picked up.
Getting picked up by your date.
What, you don't like getting a lift?
Drive yourself there, okay?
Really?
And here is why. Because I got picked up for a date. The date was like a 30-minute drive away. As soon as I got in that car, there was no like chat. It was just silent. Like, he obviously felt quite awkward. And like, me being me, I was very chatty and confident. And I think sometimes that puts people in their shell a bit more. So like, I was like all chatty and confident, blah blah blah, and then drove to the date, pretty much dead silent, like not really much chat. Got to a restaurant, I just made up an excuse. I was like, yeah, I'm not really that hungry, I'm just going to go straight to main. And he seemed a bit disappointed in that. And we had our main, I literally scoffed it, and then like they asked us if we wanted dessert. I was like, no, and then he was like, actually, I'll have a dessert. And I was like, what the fuck? We haven't spoke like this whole time. You want a dessert? Like, you really want to sit here in silence.
Make it longer.
He ate his dessert, and then they were like, do you want coffees? He's only gone and said yes to a coffee as well. So we have the coffee, and it was just silent the whole time. And then we walked back to car, silent the whole way home. Like, it was just like...
Oh my god.
I remember being in the restaurant and just staring around the room like this the whole time, and just like looking like that. Like,
did you not think that you could do an excuse to leave?
No, because they've driven
all...
all... Yeah.
Drove me.
No, that's such a valid point. I guess if it's like a quick lift to town would be good, because I like the idea of getting picked up, you know. But, yeah, because if it's a first date as well, 30 minutes is like, well, that's like sitting at a restaurant, isn't it? And if it's like double whammy, car and restaurant. What you want to do is maybe drive to like an activity, maybe. So you got a bit of both. But yeah, like for me, I've always said I wouldn't want to sit down date as the first couple. I'd want something where there's an excuse to like for that, like if you were doing mini golf, you could at least talk about what you're doing and like get a bit competitive, or bowling or whatever it is. But like it is a lot of pressure to sit down. And then you've also got the car journey before the sit down.
I know. I wouldn't agree to like an intimate date like that unless it was like I've known them for
a while.
But like I don't know, like dating is so weird now because if we're not going out for dinner, what are you doing?
I always would like get to know the person before. Or like speak to them so I know kind of if they're chatty or what they're like
what to talk about.
Because if I didn't feel comfortable, I was like, oh, there's like no chat or something.
I generally, I mean, I'm not putting it off, but I don't think I can do something that I don't know, if you know what I mean. Like, I've got to mutually know them, be out, maybe go out on a couple of nights out with a group first for me to feel comfortable enough to then see you one-on-one. I don't see myself being able to do like Tinder or something, meet someone for the first time, especially if they don't know any of my friends. Like, that seems scary to me.
We went to this restaurant and say there was chips on the plate and there was this sauce.
What? Have I not heard this?
The chip in the sauce. Went like that and went, no.
I do remember.
Started eating with his mouth open.
Oh no.
Like,
that's an ick.
No, like chomping on this chip with the sauce, and then he goes, this is disgusting. I don't know how to explain it. It was It was really a worse thing because I obviously found it hilarious.
I'd say that's not something that would give Tegs the ick. She'd find that funny.
Yeah, it takes a lot for me to get the ick, as we know.
Yes.
Because I just take everything in a funny way.
Yeah, that's so funny though.
But he was going for them chips.
What is your biggest lessons from dating? I want to know.
Don't do it.
No, I honestly think do it. You learn a lot about yourself the more you date.
You learn a lot about yourself, about like what you want, what's important to you, and like also how you should behave.
It's like a lesson because you learn how everyone's personality is. Yeah. And like some people might have that trait and another person. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because I think as well you learn what you want, like because I think what it is you meet someone, you're like, oh, I like this quality and this quality, but there's 3 bad ones, and you're like, okay, I'll keep that on board. Next person will have 3 good qualities too. You get closer and closer, then the next person all bad qualities, but you know because you learnt from last time, and you also learn what you can offer. Do you know what I mean? Who you like match with, like, so you might date someone that is fine, but is like a completely different love language to you, or like it's been brought up so differently, and it's like you're both great people but you just don't work. Do you know what I mean? And you're not going to learn that until you date more, I think.
That is very true,
because you think you know what you want, especially when you're young, and then you get older and you see different personalities. Even in friends, I think even like the new friends I've met in the last year, I'm like, oh my god, there is different people, they exist, or people that are closer to me. It gives me hope. Do you know what I mean? Advice for relationships then? Like, for me, it's always going to be don't lose yourself for someone else.
Definitely. I always say this, but like, your happiness comes from you, and like your partner is just a bonus.
100%. Yeah.
Like, you should be happy within yourself and who you are as a person when you get into a relationship. Because you're never going to find that happiness in another person.
You can't depend on someone, because also they can then take it straight back from you. And they probably will if they realise that they have that power.
Exactly.
Even if they're not a horrible person, they know.
Yeah, I think if you 2 bad people, or even 1 good person, 1 bad person, get into a relationship, obviously the bad person being the one that's in a bad headspace, it just transfers onto the other person.
It is true, you have to be careful. I think don't be okay with letting people come in and out, I think, is a good thing. And then also another thing, because that's a topic I skipped, was be present. I was going to say, like, dating's all cool and well, but when you're actually in a relationship, I think people get comfy and they think, okay, it's going to be smooth sailing, but that's actually where, like, you get tested the most, I think. Do you know what I mean? Because I think something I've always struggled with, in general, is being present, like, being happy with what I have right now. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Stressing too much about the past or the future is not good for you.
Yeah.
Don't self-sabotage, basically.
I saw something the other day and it was like regret hangs Regret.
Grr.
Did I say grr? It was like something about regret is bigger than gratitude. Like,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have to be more grateful.
Yeah, you don't want to look back on a situation and be like filled with regret that you didn't enjoy it.
Just be grateful for what you have now.
Yeah, and then when it goes, it goes. It's not.
Yeah.
You'd feel better knowing I enjoyed that and now it's done than I didn't enjoy that and I've lost it.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Have a good Valentine's,
Yes. Galentine's. It's also on a weekday, so if you're working, have a good work day. I think it's a Wednesday.
Is it this week?
No,
Spread the love. No, it's next week.
Next week. Spread the love. Just, what's the thing? There's a saying, love.
Love is in the air.
Love. Love, no.
Wait, what?
I don't know what the saying is. But spread love no matter what type of love.
Where is the love?
I'm just going to end it there. No outro, no nothing.